I stared at the hotel room door, waiting. My hands were shaking. He said he'd just gone out for snacks. "Be back in 20 minutes, Mom," he told me. That was 5 hours ago. My son Daniel had planned this trip for us. A beach getaway, just the two of us. He said it would be a healing vacation. After my surgery, after the stress of the house, after all I had given him. "You deserve a break, Mom," he said. "Let me take care of everything this time." I believed him. I shouldn't have. At first I thought maybe something had happened. I called. No answer. I texted. Nothing. I waited by the window, scanning every person in a Hawaiian shirt, every couple walking hand in hand, hoping to see him. Instead, I saw something else. Something that sent a shock through my chest so sharp I had to grab the curtain to steady myself. There he was. My Daniel. Smiling. Laughing. Holding hands with a girl I didn't know. They were headed down to the beach, towels in hand. Drinks, sunglasses, and her head resting on his shoulder like they were on their honeymoon. I pressed my palm to the window. I must have been mistaken. I rushed out of the hotel room, down the elevator and out to the beach path. I followed them at a distance. I kept whispering, "No, no, please, no." I reached the edge of the beach and stopped. There they were, lying on a rented lounge chair. He was feeding her bits of fruit. She was taking selfies. He laughed at something she whispered, and then he kissed her. That's when it hit me. I hadn't been forgotten. I had been abandoned. I walked back to the hotel slowly, dizzy. The suitcase sat by the bed where I had unpacked just 2 nights ago. I sat down and thought. And something inside me cracked open, quietly. I didn't scream. I didn't call him. I didn't even cry. I booked the next flight home. While on the plane, I stared blankly out the window, thinking about everything I had done for him. I sold my jewellery to help pay off his student loan. I cancelled my retirement trip when he needed help with rent. I even sold part of the land my late husband left me to buy that house he's living in now. Our house. The one with my name still on the documents. I landed. I didn't go home to cry. I didn't even unpack. I went straight to the lawyer. "Can I sell a jointly owned property without notice?" I asked. He raised an eyebrow. "Is the other party listed on the deed?" "No," I said. "It's just me." "Then yes," he said. "You can do whatever you like with it." The next morning I put the house up for sale. Not just the house, but everything. The car, the electronics, all the furniture, even the savings account we shared. I moved fast, quiet, cold, focused. 3 days later I had cash in hand. I moved into a small apartment in a quiet neighbourhood with big trees and no memories. I blocked his number. I didn't look at his messages. I didn't want to read the lies, the excuses, the manipulation. But I saw the first missed call when the plane landed. Then another. Then 20. By the time they got back, there were over 30 missed calls. When they opened the door to his house, there was nothing inside. No couch, no TV, no fridge, not even a spoon. That's where I want you to imagine him standing, mouth open, his girlfriend gasping. "Where's everything?" she probably asked, and maybe he laughed nervously at first. Maybe he thought it was a prank, until he saw the sold sign out front, and the final letter on the kitchen counter. "I was never your backup plan. Good luck starting over." I didn't hear his voice again until a week later. I was in my new apartment, folding laundry in silence. The windows were open. A breeze came through, and for once I felt peace. No noise, no chaos, no guilt pressing down on my chest like it used to. Then the intercom buzzed. I froze. I had given no one this address. My hand hovered above the button. Then I pressed it. "Hello? Mum?" His voice cracked. "Mum, please, it's me. Please let me up." I didn't say anything. "Mum, I'm begging you. I'm outside. Just please let me explain." I didn't want to hear him. I didn't want his words, but something in me, some small leftover piece of that woman who had spent her life sacrificing for him, reached for the buzzer. I let him in. He came up breathless, hair messy, face pale, looking like he hadn't slept. His eyes scanned my new apartment. Small, neat, quiet. Nothing like the home we used to share. Nothing like the space he used to take for granted. "Where's everything?" he asked. I stayed silent. "Why did you do this?" I tilted my head. "Why did you?" He stepped forward like he thought I would hug him. I didn't move. "I didn't mean for you to find out like that," he said quickly. "I was going to tell you, Emily surprised me. She booked the beach day." "And you forgot I existed?" His mouth opened, closed. "Do you know what it feels like?" I said, my voice calm but firm. "To be abandoned by your own child in a city you've never been to. To stand alone on a balcony, looking for someone who promised to be back in 20 minutes, and then see them laughing on the beach like you never mattered." "I didn't mean to hurt you," he said, softer now. "It wasn't like that." "It was exactly like that," I said. "You left me. No note, no message, nothing. Just vanished mid-trip like I was luggage you forgot." He stepped back, guilt written all over his face. "I didn't think. I was just trying to spend time with Emily." "You mean the woman you've been hiding from me for months?" I interrupted. "The one who helped you clear out our joint account 2 days before the trip." He flinched. "Yes." I had checked. I saw the transaction history. Dinner at an expensive restaurant the night before we flew. Jewellery, a 2-day beach resort upgrade, all under his name, paid for with our money, my money. You paid for her luxury while I sat alone in a room you never came back to. He sat down on the edge of my couch like the weight of it all had finally hit. "Mum, I messed up. I know I did. But selling everything, the house, that wasn't fair." "You're right," I said. "It wasn't fair. I should have done it years ago." His eyes widened. "You think I didn't notice how you slowly stopped treating me like your mother and started treating me like your personal bank? Every emergency, every setback, every whim. I said yes every time. I gave up my dreams so you could chase yours." Tears filled his eyes. "I thought you wanted to help." "I did. Because I trusted you," I snapped, "until I saw you on that beach grinning like a fool while I sat alone thinking you were in trouble, maybe even dead. You didn't even text." He buried his face in his hands. "I thought I had time to fix it, to explain. You had years, Daniel, years of me sacrificing, and you gave me lies. You took what I gave and then left me behind." He didn't speak. "I sold everything because I realized I didn't owe you a single thing anymore." He looked up slowly. "So that's it? You're just done being my mother?" "No," I said softly. "I'll always be your mother, but I'm done being your fool." There was a silence, a painful one. Then he stood. "Where am I supposed to go now?" "That's not my problem anymore," I said. "You have a girlfriend. Figure it out." He hesitated. "I don't even know where to start." "You could start," I said, walking to the door, "by learning what it feels like to be alone. Maybe then you'll understand what you did to me." He turned to speak, but I had already opened the door. He paused there. And for a moment, I saw the boy he used to be, the boy who scraped his knee and ran crying into my arms. But that boy had grown into a man who had no problem watching his mother eat dinner alone while he kissed his girlfriend under the moonlight. So I closed the door. And this time, I didn't feel guilty. 3 days later, I got a call from the bank. Apparently, Daniel tried to access the emergency fund I had hidden years ago. "It's been closed," the woman on the phone said. "We flagged suspicious activity." I thanked her. I wasn't surprised. The next week, Emily tried to contact me. She sent a long message on Facebook full of emojis and fake apologies. I didn't respond, but I saved the message. A few days after that, Daniel showed up again, this time with a duffel bag in hand. He looked thinner, more tired, desperate. "I'm sorry," he he said again. I know, I replied, but it doesn't change what happened. I just need a place to crash, just for a few days. I gave you a home for years, I said, and you threw it away for 2 days in the sun. His eyes darkened. You're really turning your back on me? No, Daniel. You turned your back on me. I'm just finally walking away. He stood there, waiting for me to change my mind. But I didn't. He left without another word. The silence that followed was the most peaceful sound I had heard in years. But peace doesn't last long, not when people like Daniel don't learn their lessons. Because a week later, something happened that made me realize this story wasn't over. Not even close. It was a quiet Thursday morning when I got the letter. Not an email, not a text. A letter. Thick, cream-coloured paper folded neatly into an envelope with my full name typed on the front. I almost threw it out with the junk mail, but something about it felt official. I opened it slowly. My hands trembled before I finished reading the first sentence. This letter is to inform you that legal action has been filed against you regarding the sale of the property located at... I blinked. My stomach dropped. Filed by Daniel Carter. My own son was suing me. At first I thought it had to be a mistake, some kind of mix-up. But the lawyer's name was real, the signature was real, the court date was real. He wasn't coming to apologise anymore. He was coming for revenge. I called the lawyer listed on the document. He confirmed it. Yes, ma'am. Your son claims the property was co-owned and that you sold it without his knowledge or permission. That's ridiculous, I snapped. I owned that house. I bought it. Paid for every brick. Then you have nothing to worry about, he said calmly. But I'd suggest hiring... Are you that upset I stopped enabling you? I asked. Or are you upset that you ran out of ways to use me? He didn't answer. I took a step closer. You tried to steal my peace. You tried to punish me for choosing myself. And now you have nothing. Not the house, not the money, not even my trust. Then what do I have left? He whispered. I shrugged. Choices. Then I walked away. But that night my phone rang again. This time it wasn't Daniel. It was Emily. And what she told me next made my blood run cold. She was crying, angry, furious. I didn't know he lied about the money, she said. He told me it was a family fund. He used your card, your account. He even told me the house was his inheritance. She paused, sobbing. And now he's gone. Gone? I asked. He packed his stuff, disappeared, blocked me, took the last of my money too. I closed my eyes. It wasn't just me anymore. Daniel had betrayed her too. And suddenly I realised my son wasn't just reckless. He was dangerous. I should have felt satisfied. I won the court case. I cut the cord. I walked away from my son's emotional grip and the chaos he always carried with him. But now, Emily's voice echoed in my mind. He's gone. At first I didn't believe her. Maybe she was lying, trying to guilt me into letting him back in. Or maybe she was just another pawn, like I had been. But there was something in her voice I recognised too well. Shock, fear, and shame. The same emotions I'd felt when I saw my son on that beach without a care in the world. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay on my new mattress, no frame, in a quiet, unfamiliar room. I stared at the ceiling and asked myself the one question that haunted every mother. What did I do wrong? The next morning I checked my email. I had a new message. Subject line. You deserve to know. It was from Emily. I know you don't owe me anything. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. I didn't know the full story until now. He told me you were abusive, that you stole money from him and tried to control his life, that you were forcing him to stay close because you were sick and lonely. I believed him. He used me just like he used you. When we got back and saw the house empty, he panicked, said you'd destroyed everything. Then he tried to convince me to help him sue you, to claim the house was legally his. When the case fell apart, he turned cold, distant. Then he stole the last of my savings and vanished. He took my credit cards, my laptop, and disappeared. I filed a police report this morning. I just thought you deserved to know. Emily. I sat frozen for several minutes. He lied to her, just like he'd lied to me, manipulated her into helping him in court, spun a fantasy version of reality where he was the victim and I was the monster. And when that fell apart, he did what he always did. He ran. I closed the laptop slowly. I couldn't ignore it anymore. This wasn't just about betrayal. This was a pattern. I had to know more. So I called the officer listed in Emily's report, Detective Saunders. "Ma'am," he said after I confirmed my identity, "thank you for calling. We were hoping to speak with you." "About what?" "Well," he sighed, "your son is wanted for credit card fraud. Emily's not the only one. We have reports from at least 3 other women across 2 states. He's been using aliases, fake businesses, and short-term rentals to scam people for nearly a year." I blinked. "What?" "We believe he used personal information from your accounts to set up some of those scams. He had access to your bank records, yes?" "For years," I whispered. "He's clever," Saunders said. "No violent history, but emotionally manipulative. Makes people trust him quickly. And once he gets what he wants, he disappears. Until the next victim." I couldn't breathe. My son wasn't just a liar, he was a criminal. I felt my knees buckle slightly and I sat down. The detective continued, "We're doing everything we can to track him down. If you hear from him, please contact us immediately. And I know this is difficult, but if you still have any joint accounts or old digital files he could access, you might want to shut them down." After I hung up, I sat there in stunned silence. It was like pieces of a puzzle had finally clicked together, pieces I had been too afraid to see. The times he asked for emergency money, always urgent, always late at night. The stories that didn't add up, rents too high, bills too low. The moments he called crying, saying, "I just need a little help to get back on my feet." I was never helping him up. I was helping him run. The guilt hit me like a wave. Not guilt for what I had done, but for what I had ignored. All the warning signs, all the red flags. I had been so desperate to be needed, to be useful, that I let love blind me to the truth. That afternoon I went to the bank. I changed every password, closed every old account, notified them of possible fraud. I added alerts to my credit report and requested a freeze. I cleaned house, again. And for the first time I felt like I was finally starting to break free from the mess he left behind. That night, the doorbell rang. I checked the peephole. It was Emily. I opened the door slowly. She looked different, broken in a way I recognized. Not a victim, not a fool, but a woman who had been pushed to her limit and finally said, "Enough." "I'm sorry," she said again. I stepped aside and let her in. She looked around. "This place is small." "It's mine," I said. She nodded. "He used to talk about buying a penthouse." "On whose money?" We both laughed. Bitterly, she pulled something out of her bag, a small red journal. "He used to write in this," she said. "I took it after he left. I shouldn't have, but I wanted answers." I opened it. It wasn't a journal. It was a logbook. Names, numbers, balances, notes like Sophie 300, text tomorrow, and Maddie, new card, needs fake invoice. Dozens of entries. My name was on the first page. Mom, $5,000, easy. Increase monthly groceries, lie to 800. I clutched the book. My chest burned. Emily whispered, "He called it his survival plan." I couldn't speak. I just turned and dropped the book on the kitchen counter like it was made of fire. "I filed it with the police already," she said. "They said it helps." Then she looked at me carefully. "You didn't raise a monster, but he chose to become one." I met her eyes. "I raised a boy who was hurting, but I protected him so much I never let him feel the consequences." "You have now," she said. We stood in silence for a moment. Then I said, "So what happens next?" She shrugged. I'm moving back to my sister's place, trying to rebuild. I don't have much left, but I'm done crying over him. Good, I said. She gave me a small smile, then walked to the door. Before she left, she turned back. I know you don't want to hear this, but if he comes back, if he calls you, please don't let him in. Not again. I won't, I said, and I meant it. That night I made a list, not of things to do, but of things I would no longer allow in my life. No more guilt, no more rescuing, no more lies, no more Daniel. But just as I crossed off his name, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, one new voicemail. I pressed play, his voice. Hey, Mum. It's me. I know you probably hate me, but I'm in trouble. Real trouble. I just need a place to stay. Just one night. Please. I have nowhere else to go. The message ended. I stared at the phone for a long time. Then I deleted it. The next month passed in a quiet blur. I rebuilt my life one careful step at a time. I found a part-time job at the local library, just shelving books and helping with programs for children. It was peaceful work. The smell of paper, the hush of readers lost in stories. It reminded me why I loved simple things. I replaced the furniture he had emptied with second-hand finds. A small wooden table, 2 mismatched chairs, a worn leather armchair. Everything was modest, but it was mine. No ghosts of betrayal hiding in those corners. I even started a small savings jar on the kitchen counter, an emergency fund just for me. Every paycheck I tucked a little aside, watching it grow. It felt good to protect myself at last. Emily moved out of town to live with her sister. We stayed in touch by text. No more dramatic visits, just small check-ins. How we were sleeping, what books we'd read, whether the jar was filling up. I was happy in a quiet way. Content, unafraid. Then, on a rainy Wednesday afternoon, I came home early from the library. I left the door unlocked, thinking I'd be safe, thinking I could relax. I dropped my bag and went to the kitchen to pour myself a cup of tea. The moment I flipped the kettle on, I noticed something was off. My savings jar, the one with the blue lid I chose because it reminded me of the sky, was gone. I froze. My heart pounded. I dropped the spoon I was holding and rushed to the living room. No sign of the jar, no broken glass, no forced entry. The front door remained locked. I checked the windows. Latched. The lock on the back door. Intact. Everything looked the same. But someone had been here. I grabbed my phone and called Detective Saunders. He answered on the second ring. Detective Saunders, how can I help? Someone took my emergency jar, I said, voice shaking. No, stole it. He sighed. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but unless there are other signs of a crime like forced entry or threats, it's hard to allocate resources. I pressed my lips together. It's not just the money, it's what it means. He's testing me. Testing? My son, he finds a way back in. He's looking for loopholes, cracks in my defences. I gripped the counter until my knuckles whitened. He wants to see if I'll rescue him again. Saunders was silent for a moment. I understand, he said. I'll note it in the file. Call me if you see him or if anything else happens. I hung up and sank into the armchair. The rain tapped against the window. My world felt suddenly small and exposed. That night, I slept with the lights on in every room. I heard the wind howl, but my mind pictured someone creeping through the shadows. Every bump, every whisper of the wind sounded like footsteps. The next morning I found a note slipped under the door, written in his sloppy handwriting. Mom, I know you think you're safe, but I'll always find you. I'm coming. I held the note as if it burned my fingertips. I wanted to burn it, rip it apart, but I stuck it in my folder of evidence. I called Emily. She answered right away. What's wrong? She asked. He stole my jar, left a note. There was silence. Then she whispered, he did this to me too. Just last week. He took my jewellery, left a note. You can't hide from me. I closed my eyes. He's escalating. I'm worried for you, she said. Maybe you should move again. I shook my head, though she couldn't see me. I can't keep running. Then let me come stay with you, she offered. Just until this blows over. I hesitated. Part of me wanted solitude. Part of me wanted her company more than anything. Okay, I said finally. Come tomorrow morning. We hung up, and I spent the rest of the day stacking chairs against the door, checking locks and reviewing the detective's number in my phone. When Emily arrived the next day, she hugged me tight. We'll face this together, she said. We spent the afternoon installing a simple security camera above the door, enough to record anyone who came. It cost more than my jar held, but it was worth it. That night, as we sat in the dark living room, with only the circle of light around the camera monitor, I thought I heard something outside the front window. A slow scrape, like metal across wood. Emily stiffened. Did you hear that? I nodded. My throat went dry. We turned on the monitor. The front porch light blinked on, and there he was. Daniel. He stood under the light soaked from the rain, face hidden by the hood of his jacket. He held something in his hand. On the screen, he looked small, vulnerable almost. But I knew better. He raised his hand and pointed directly at the camera. Then he vanished. We rushed to the window. The porch was empty, but the rain had stopped, and in the muddy soil I saw footprints leading around the side of the house. And in the glow of the porch light I saw the jar, shattered. A line of coins and crumpled bills led to the garden gate, disappearing into the darkness. I whispered, "He wants a response." Emily gripped my arm. "What do we do?" I swallowed hard. My heart pounded like a drum. I realized in that moment that this battle wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I didn't panic. I didn't even shake. Something had changed in me overnight. Maybe it was the sight of the broken jar, left like a threat. Maybe it was Daniel's face under that porch light, so bold, so unbothered, as if he believed I still belonged to him. He had crossed the line, and I was done. Emily woke up to find me already dressed, sipping hot tea. The security camera footage paused on my laptop. "You're calm," she said warily, rubbing her eyes. "I've made a decision." She tilted her head. "To call the police?" "No, not yet." I stood and handed her a folder. "First, we go public." Emily flipped through it, her eyes widening. Inside was everything: the credit card fraud reports, the court case documents, his journal of manipulation and the recent threats. "He needs exposure," I said. "He thrives in the dark. If I shine a light on him, he loses power." "You want to go to the media?" she asked. "No." I gave her a thin smile. "I want to go to the people who raised him." She blinked. "His father's family?" "No, my family." Emily understood instantly. Daniel had isolated me for years. Whenever I tried to reconnect with cousins or old friends, he made excuses, created drama, or guilted me into cancelling. He kept me surrounded by silence until I started to believe I was truly alone. But I wasn't. That afternoon, Emily and I got into my car and drove to my older sister's house, Aunt Grace. We hadn't spoken in over 2 years. Not because of a fight, but because life had gotten too noisy. Or rather, Daniel had. She opened the door, surprised. Then her face lit up. "Oh my goodness, Laura, is that you?" I hugged her tight. "I'm sorry it's been so long." She pulled me inside without another word. Within minutes we were sitting at her kitchen table, me, Emily and Aunt Grace, while I laid everything out. At first Grace was stunned, then slowly anger took over. "That little devil," she muttered, flipping through the folder. "All this time you were suffering alone." "I didn't know how to explain it," I whispered. "He made me feel like I was the crazy one." Grace reached over and took my hand. "You're not crazy. You're brave. You're surviving something most mothers wouldn't even speak of." That evening, Grace posted a long message in our old family group chat, one Daniel wasn't part of. She told the truth about the trip, the lawsuit, the threats, the fraud. By morning, I had 24 messages. Some were apologies, others were offers of help, but all of them shared one common message: you're not alone. That same day, Detective Saunders called again. We tracked Daniel's location, he said. He's in the next state over, living under the name David Carver. He was caught on CCTV trying to rent a car with a fake ID. I sat straighter. Are you arresting him? We're close, Saunders replied, but we need your help to nail it down. If he contacts you again, don't block him, just record everything, trap him with his own words. I hung up and looked at Emily. Time to let him come to me. I unblocked his number, and I waited. It didn't take long. 2 days later, I received a voice note. Hey, Mum, I know you're angry. I know you're probably talking to everyone now, trying to make me out as some villain. But I never meant to hurt you. I was just desperate. Listen, I'm in a bad spot. I've been sleeping in my car. I lost my job. I just need somewhere to stay, just for a few nights. Then I'll be out of your life forever. I swear on everything. I played the message for Saunders. He smiled. That's enough. With this and the journal, we can get a warrant. The next morning, Daniel was arrested in a gas station parking lot, caught trying to use another stolen card. I received the call at noon. I expected to feel joy, or triumph, maybe relief. Instead, I felt peace. A hollow, gentle peace. Like I could finally put the past away, box it up and store it somewhere that didn't hurt. The case took a few weeks to build. There were multiple victims now, Emily testified. So did I. The judge listened carefully as we described how Daniel had chipped away at us. One excuse, one lie, one theft at a time. He didn't fight it. He didn't even look at me. He just sat there with his head low like a little boy caught stealing cookies, except the cookies were people's trust, money, and lives. In the end, he was sentenced to 14 months in a rehabilitation-centered facility, part prison, part therapy. The judge said he needed structure, not just punishment. I agreed. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted to stop being afraid. A few weeks later, I received a letter in the mail, handwritten in blue ink. Dear Mom, I'm sorry. I know I don't deserve anything, not forgiveness, not a second chance, but I want to say this anyway. You were always good to me. I know I twisted that goodness, used it for my own gain. I was selfish. I lied. I hurt you. I'm in therapy now. They're helping me see things clearer, slowly, painfully. I don't expect you to write back, but if you ever want to, you can. Daniel. I folded the letter and placed it in a box, not to forget but to remember how far I'd come. Emily moved on with her life. She got a new job, a new apartment. Sometimes we still met for coffee. We'd laugh, share book recommendations, and talk about nothing serious. We both needed that. As for me, I planted a small garden outside my apartment, lavender, rosemary and mint, plants that smelled like peace and healing. I joined a book club at the library. I made new friends. I started saying no without guilt. I became whole again. One day I passed by the old house, the one I sold after Daniel abandoned me mid-trip. The new family had repainted it light yellow, added a swing set in the backyard, and placed potted plants by the door. It no longer looked like my past. It looked like someone else's beginning. I smiled. Because I had my own beginning now, not built on sacrifice or guilt or the hope that love would fix what therapy should, but built on truth, strength, boundaries, and the kind of peace you earn after walking through fire barefoot.